This project is called as the Consumer Experience Project. The main aim of this project is to identify if the reviews of a product is a positive review or a negative review. I have used IMDb dataset in order to solve this problem. The dataset can be easily replaced by your personal dataset. The first step of any exploratory data analysis is the data pre-processing step. Data can be pre-processed into two types when you have a string dataset and when you have a numerical dataset. When it is a numerical dataset, we follow certain steps such as removing the null values, removing the duplicate values, checking the distribution if it is a positive distribution, negative distribution, a negatively skewed dataset, or a normal distribution. Here we have a string dataset format, hence we'll use the NLP techniques of preprocessing. The first technique I have used is converting the entire text into lowercase format. It is easily identifiable in lower text format, the errors. Removing the stop words. I have downloaded the English stop words library from NLTK library, and then I have used it in a lambda function to remove it from the reviews columns. I have dropped if there are any duplicates. Then I have used three methods to remove the punctuation marks. First is by replacing the set characters by null or an empty space. Then I have used str.makeTrans, and then I have created a function wherein I have used the regular expression dot compile, and I have given certain characters or certain numerical values which I want to remove from my string, and then I have given it into a form of clean HTML function. The next step is categorizing the X and the Y columns for our machine learning algorithm application. And before that, I have converted the Y column into numerical because it is into string format. I've used label encoder to achieve this. Next, I am checking if my dataset is a balanced dataset. Here I can see that the number of zeros and ones is approximately equal. So I can see it is a balanced dataset. Then I have split the dataset into 80 is to 10 to 20 ratio. The important steps are now that we are converting entire text document into numerical format. Here I have used text vectorization method. I have used each of the text vectorization method and then applied to certain machine learning algorithms. First is the count vectorizer, also called as the unigram, that I have used. I have called it and saved it into an object. I have applied that object on the train and the test sets, and then I have called the machine learning algorithms, saved them in a function, and applied them all at once. The I have calculated the accuracy score 0.835 is the best accuracy from the four algorithms. Next, I have applied bigrams as a vectorizer technique and again repeated the steps to get the accuracy score. Then I have again repeated the steps on trigrams and lastly the TF-IDF vectorizer technique. After applying all these techniques, I have found out that random forest classifier is giving me the best accuracy in my current data set. Once we have achieved the actual algorithm that we need to select, we can convert it into a Python app. In order to convert it into Python app, we need to use object oriented programming and create modules and classes and then run them in a main.py file, which will give us the final prediction and also the accuracy score. This app then can be uploaded on a AWS or a cloud platform, and it can be used in a CI/CD fashion to continuously train new data and then again keep on checking and evaluating the accuracy score of the model. If we find out that the accuracy score is not up to the mark, then we can again do a Jupyter notebook analysis and find out the best model and can use it, or else mm, it can even be replaced in the code itself, which we have done. Okay, so this is the Python project. Firstly, we have created a module, a directory called as the sentiment. In that, we have created components, entity, and pipeline directories. This contain classes, that is the data ingestion class, data transformation, data evaluation, a model evaluation, model pusher, and model trainer. The data ingestion class carries out the steps that we have done in the Jupyter Notebook analysis, and then it saves the output into the artifact directory at these paths, that is the feature store file path, train file path, and the test file path. Then we have also created data transformation class. It also achieves the steps that are done in the Jupyter Notebook analysis, and at the end it saves them into the artifact directories into the transformation folder. Then we carry out the model trainer, model pusher, and the model evaluation classes accordingly. Along with this, we also have artifact entity and config entity classes. The artifact entity is the paths, variable names for all the artifact that we have to create, and config entity is the paths that are created using the inputs. Then we have the exception and the logger class. Exception is there to give any error message and raise an exception. And we have modified it so that we can get the line number and the error message properly so as to debug our code. Then we have the logger, which creates the log. So here I have created the sentiment log folder. If I open a file, it is given me according to the timestamp and the date, and this is the recent date, that is 11th of Feb, and I have gotten all the values for this in the logs. I can see that my code has run correctly and it has given me the score of the model and has also giving me the final prediction conclusion whether the currently trained model is better or not. Coming to our main.py file, these are the steps that in which our classes run. First, the config training pipeline config runs, then the data ingestion, data transformation, then model trainer, model pusher, and model evaluation finally. So at the end of this project, we get the prediction for the new dataset or the dataset that we have used. Lastly, in this project, I've included the architecture, LLD, HLD documents, and we have the saved model, that is model.pkl, which will help us to retrain new data and use the model.pkl file accordingly. So this was the entire project. Thank you.